Hey guys, ThePolishElf here, bringing you a new video in my writing series. Today we're going to be talking about characters and why you should make them interesting and how to make them interesting. So, for one, we'll answer the obvious question that I proposed. Why should you make your characters interesting? Well, regardless of how good of a story you have written, regardless of how interesting your setting is, you need to make sure the people that are going to be in your story have inherent value reading about. People are going to gain something from reading about these characters. They're not going to be bored by them. It's not going to be a detriment to your story, basically. At the very least, the best you can do is they enhance your story tenfold, because that is the power of making good characters. So, how do we do this? How do we make your character interesting? So, I'll be talking in the lens right now of just a main protagonist. So, if you have a main protagonist who is going to go on a quest to defeat something, you need to make sure they actually have the motivation and interests, and they have the goal to do this quest. If they just are told about the quest and they say, I guess, they just kind of go along with it, that's not going to be good. They're not going to be interesting. They might be quirky at first, and the audience may be like, okay, whatever, I can be okay with this character. But if they never develop a goal, and they're just kind of going with the flow of the story, they're not going to be very interesting to hear about or read about. You're just going to be kind of left there like, man, why is this character actually in this? If they don't want to be, you know? It's just unrealistic, really. You got to think like an actual human. Like, you think of like an actual person in this situation and developing a goal for completing this. If a person with no goal is just doing this, well, they either have a subconscious goal that they aren't thinking about, or they have a goal they're not sharing, or they are just being forced for some reason. And if you're forcing something in a piece of art, like a movie, anime, I don't know, book, anything, it's just not going to feel good to the reader, viewer, to see. It's going to be super awkward. So, you need to make sure your character has motivation and a goal. That's pretty much the two biggest parts. You need to make sure their motivations lie within whatever you're setting them out to do. Make sure they actually have realistic with their character motivations, and then their goal is, something. Just something that makes sense with them wanting to get through the story, wanting to go through with whatever you're going to send them on to do. And that's kind of the biggest thing about making an interesting character. You can make their personality as zany, quirky as you want, but if they're just kind of there with no reason to be there, like not even just, they're serving like this reason and facet within the story. No, I mean an actual character reason to be there. Then it's going to feel very forced and very awkward and not going to be fun for anyone to read. I kind of already touched about that, but you know what I mean. So, I actually thought of some examples, and the reason I write this video is I have an example because I watched a video on Bleach, and I was inspired to write this video. So, that example is Ichigo. The reason why Bleach kind of becomes almost boring, almost just not very fun to watch or read, in my opinion at least. I know there's plenty of Bleach fans, but it's because Ichigo becomes a very passive protagonist, and he's just not strong in his motivations or goals. You just don't get the sense of urgency from him, the sense of wanting to build something, wanting to progress in his goal, because he doesn't have any, really. He doesn't really state anything, and it's really just kind of boring. You don't really like him. You can like him as a person, like his personality, and like understand, like, oh yeah, he's cool because he's righteous, but you're not going to really be interested in following his story. And that's the biggest issue with having a main character with no goal. The reader isn't going to be interested in following his story, meaning that the story that you made that can be as interesting as it is not going to be interesting to follow. And that is the sad truth of it. So, a really good example of a protagonist... Oh wait, one second. Also in Bleach, the major character, the other characters in the story that are, with Ichigo, not just Ichigo, they also have no goals or motivations, so really doesn't make any character very redeeming. And at least, like, you know, the characters on, like, Ichigo's side. I know, like, Aizen and the other characters, they have, like, goals of their own, but you know what I mean. The main characters that you're supposed to be focusing on really don't have set goals or motivations, and it's really hard to watch them when they don't. Now, a really good example of a show, or another anime, because I love anime, that has really defined goals and characters with really defined goals and motivations is My Hero Academia. I've thought of a few animes for this, but I think this definitely takes the cake of the most characters with the most set and defined goals, and also I feel the most progression towards their goals. So, of course, the main one is Midoriya. He didn't have a quirk growing up, and he still wanted to be the greatest hero he could be. He wanted to get into the most prestigious hero academy, etc., etc. So he just wanted to be a great hero from the very beginning. And then when he was given One for All, that changed him, and it also served as a stepping stone towards progression towards his goal. It was actually a very big moment of becoming even more interested in Midoriya and more invested in him. He was already a sympathetic character, but now he's even more interesting. You want to follow him because he just got the milestone, the way to achieve his goal. And that's huge. That's why My Hero Academia, the first season, honestly is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, because it does so many things right for that reason. It just sets up everything so well. It's amazing. So, Midoriya gets his quirk, One for All, and then from there, you know, he progresses gradually of how to use it without, you know, killing himself. And it's really cool. You feel like he's really progressing throughout the entire story, not just season 1, not just the first few arcs. You really feel like he's getting closer and closer to becoming the number one, the greatest hero of all time. So, that's just, I think, the best example of how to make a character interesting. And, yeah, if you guys enjoyed, I hope you did. I was very interested in this video because I felt like it was a good way to actually start talking about more examples. I've been wanting to, but, you know, I haven't really thought of any good ones. I've been doing research on my other 2 videos, but, you know what I mean. This is the first one I felt like I actually had solid examples to talk about. So, I hope you all enjoy, or I hope you all did enjoy. And, yeah, just leave a like and subscribe. Follow my Twitch channel if you want to see more frequently. I stream 2 to 3 times a week. I'm a little more busy now, so sadly I can't do it 5 days a week anymore, but you know what I mean. So yeah, hope you all enjoyed. Love you. Bye.